Hello, coaches. In today's episode, our panel of experts will share their responses to the question, what are some good opportunities for coaches to work with you? As coaches, we can sometimes struggle to find just the right opportunity to work with our colleagues from different areas of the school. Hearing from teachers, librarians, counselors, and school leaders on the ways that they truly appreciate working with the coaches in their schools gives us lots of insight into how we can best approach our colleagues across the school. My name is Kim Cafino, and I'll be your host throughout the series. I've been an instructional coach in schools around the world for 20 years. I am passionate about the impact that instructional coaches can have on school culture, student learning, and teacher professional development, and I am so excited to share these conversations with you. We created this series to give you a window into our Eduro Learning Coach Microcredential mentorship program. If you're ready to level up your coaching, our next cohort starts in April 2019 and registration is open now. Stay tuned after the video for more details and a free download to preview what you'll learn in this personalized coaching credential program. If you like any part of this series, give this video a like and subscribe to our channel to get all 8 videos in the series. Turn on notifications to be the first to see the next episode. Let's get started. So what are some good opportunities for coaches to work with you?
They do need to push up. Middle leaders in general need to remember that they have to push up. They have to advocate for their position or their beliefs in terms of what's going to have impact on student learning. They have to be a voice in the room, but they can't wait for the invitation. Like, send a calendar invite. Like, I don't know any admin that would go, you know what? No, I'm not going to meet with you. Like, send a calendar invite or talk to the secretary, schedule a time. Like, most leaders are pretty excited to talk about learning. And so, but don't wait because other people are already inviting themselves and my calendar gets full. So it's really, and knowing what's important to your school. Like, you probably won't change. You may not change the big things. You're not going to change an IB school to an AP school or a American school into a British school or whatever. But if you know what learning looks like in your school, then you know what to advocate for and what your leaders are looking for in those conversations.
You know, I think there's kind of that saying of the leader says, let's go to the moon. Woo, visionary. And then the coach says, okay, let's build that rocket. You know? And so the coaches are the ones who have the attention to detail and who understand what it means for real. There was an article by a headhunter who said, you know, in all the industries I've worked in, this is kind of a high-powered headhunter, the type that would find the new CEO for General Electric. He said, no matter the industry, there's kind of 4 types of workers. There's the visionary, transformational leader type. Then there's the person who makes that vision become a reality. Then there's a person who sees an existing process and says, I can do that better. I can improve that. And then there's the one who says, you know, I'm just going to keep the train running on time, right? When you think of the coaches, like, so the leaders got some of that for that visionary stuff. Who's going to make it real? Who's going to improve the existing processes? That second and third slot, that's the heavy lifting that we need from coaches, right? And it's really hard to imagine the leader saying, I'm going to walk into that math classroom and help that math teacher do this better. It's false, right? But the coach can say, look, when we're going to improve our math instruction, I think this is the way we're going to go. Let me help build that rocket so that we can get to the moon. That's that expertise, that understanding of process and priorities, of pacing, the understanding of personalities. All those things are very helpful for leaders to achieve their goals.
I think maybe on a day-to-day basis. So I've talked more about those kind of planned check-ins, like my check-ins with Pamela, which happen maybe about 3 times a year. And then those sort of casual ones with people like Tricia, who I might bump into, and it becomes sort of a bigger conversation. But then there are times that when it is kind of the nitty-gritty of my profession, and I'm trying to move someone's thinking forward, or I'm not quite sure what to do in a situation in a more sort of daily practice way, then I can have those conversations with my colleagues. And then I guess because people are open to that type of conversation, and there's the culture of it's okay to kind of be vulnerable, then that's really useful. And of course, those conversations can be really wide-ranging in terms of practice. And what's really good about that is that it benefits the people, the students that I'm working with and the families that I'm working with, almost like straight away. Then I can think of, right, okay, this is maybe a better way to do this, or another way to do this, or I hadn't really gone into that way of thinking, but maybe that's going to be a better way. It just allows me to quickly expand my repertoire. I didn't want to say this is all about toolkits, because it's not, but of course it can be too. I can sort of see another section of my toolkit that maybe I hadn't thought about using. So I guess like just day-to-day nitty-gritty practice, as well as like big presentations where I'm trying to move thinking in a more profound way, or my life goals about well-being and about access and things like that.
Yeah, I think because of that, there's a few things. One is like when you're on the cutting edge of something, and that's one of the things I like about working like in a school, is that we have so many people from so many different disciplines that are very passionate about their area of expertise. And so like I teach TOK as well, right? So I was just having a conversation with my TOK kids about some examples from science, which I know conceptually what they need. They need an example of an area of growth within sciences where we're defining the terminology of that currently. And so that's that cutting edge. And so to have the science teachers, for instance, share that back to my students is really important. The same thing would carry over for the tech coaches as well. It's like, where is this cutting edge? Like that because of my focus on the social emotional learning and well-being of students, I'm familiar with the cutting edge stuff going on there. What are they, and I just need to hear it, like just to hang out, even to have a conversation. It's like, okay, so that's going on. Or students are really, this is where we're going with, I don't know, virtual reality in education, or, whatever it is like that they're talking about at that moment. The more I kind of hear glimpses, even if it's just keywords that I understand, this is an area where probably this is coming down the pike. That is a really nice piece for me to have access to without having, like I said before, without actually having to develop that full area of expertise myself, because that's completely impossible. Yet the technology is hugely influential in the world and lives and learning of my students. So
I'd like to see them appear more in my classroom every now and then, to not just to observe or whatever, but actually to get in there and get a little bit more hands-on with and understand the problems that I have with the students in the context of science education. I would like to see that happen a bit more. I know that there's a lot of time restraints and things like that, but I think that would help a lot.
I think it's almost like students, right? If there's kind of a set of expectations within your department or your team, almost like a rubric. Like I think one thing that our literacy coach brought in was this rubric she had created about, like, these are the things that when you're conferencing, these are good things that you should be doing. When you're doing your mini lesson, these are things you should be thinking about. And on the rubric, you could pretty clearly see kind of where you fall. And for me, that was kind of an eye-opening thing, because on a day-to-day basis, teachers kind of survive and do what they need to do to teach pretty good classes. And all of us can be mediocre for a long time, and just kind of survive. And it's like, this is the way I teach, and things are going well for the most part. But then when you kind of look at it and go, actually, you know what, like mediocre gets me by, but I'm not doing that. And if I know that's kind of an expectation, or that's something I could be doing, and it's kind of like a rubric for kids, that seems to be pretty effective. And again, not in a way of, oh my God, look, I'm not doing anything, I'm a terrible teacher, but being honest with yourself of where you are and kind of where you want to get better. Because I think most teachers are pretty honest with themselves and realize that they run on survival mode sometimes, and then sometimes they run on let's get better.
I think the coaches that work the best are the ones that realize that we have a lot in common. So at my previous job, another person you might know, Pim, for example, is a K-12 tech integrator at my previous school in Beijing. And, we realized really early on that there is a lot of overlap. There's a lot of overlap in digital literacy, in digital citizenship, in information literacy. There's just a lot of overlap. So I think the coaches that work really well with librarians are the ones that realize that the overlap is there, and let's work together, and let's join all our talents together, and then kind of it saves on planning time. It ends up being great when you can collaborate and present together. It also lets you divide and be in two places at the same time if you're all on the same page. So I guess the ones that realize that we're way more the same than we are.
Right now, one of the things that I'm hoping Matt and I will work on together a little bit this year is the visual presentation of information. I went to a really great conference last year, and I've just been thinking a lot about, I have all this information that I want to make accessible to kids and really easy for them to use. And visual organization has never been my thing. Whenever I work with our director of learning, she and I will put together some stuff, and then she says, is it okay if I clean this up a little bit so it looks nice? I'm like, please do it. So I really need a person to coach me through that. And it's not do it for me, but teach me, maybe do it for me the first time, and then the second time really teach me how to do it better, and then the third time free me how to do it. So I'm looking forward to some coaching on the visual literacy part of delivering some of my content. I really would like some help on actually, as a librarian, like really improving our EAL specific collection. Not that you have books definitely that are only for your EAL kids, but in collection development and selecting those and making some stronger, better choices. And I think that's something that Kendra and I are going to be able to work on. But even if I back up further from those very specific things, and I think about admin as coaches, like in the course of a regular review that they do of teachers during the year and in your professional growth plan, I'd even like to go back to some of the classic things of teaching and having a little bit of coaching as I go into my next review on how can I improve some of my instructional delivery for these large classes that's so much different now because I don't see all the same kids all the time. So working on what are some of the, I don't have a problem with classroom management, but you can always improve it. What are some of those basic classroom management things that you can use with much larger groups of kids and kids that you don't know individually and personally the way I used to when I was a high school English teacher? I never hesitate to ask for help. So I would say the reason that I know these people are going to help me is because they've made it very obvious at the beginning of the year, right from the start. A lot of times it happens in a faculty meeting. I know that I try to do this as a librarian. Introducing yourself, giving examples of what you can do to help people, giving specific examples of how it's happened before. I think that is really important. And then just, for example, like for me, it's easy because IT and library at our school are very close. So that relationship is there and it's being developed all the time. But Kendra, our EAL teacher, is in an entirely other building from me, but she has made a point of coming down to see me. She brought me a pile of professional books the other day about some reading things that we'd been talking about. She sends emails and says, hey, here's something I've been thinking about. What do you want to do about this? My admin is also really great about connecting people from different parts of the school. We're going to be working on a parent coffee morning about reading and talking to parents about reading. And Rebecca, our MYP coordinator, is bringing Kendra and I together as EAL teacher and librarian to make that happen. So even though that's not a moment where one of us will be coaching the other one, it's developing those relationships in other ways outside of just your coaching relationship, I think. So availability and relationship development. It all comes back to being nice, even though that looks different for everybody.
Thank you so much for watching our Eduro Learning Level Up Your Coaching series. If you like any part of this series, please give this video a like. It really does help out our channel. If you want more videos like this, subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to be the first to see the next episode. We want to hear from you. Do you have questions about instructional coaching? Would you like to see a specific educator featured in an upcoming interview? Do you have a great coaching story to share with us? Leave us a comment down below and let us know. If you are ready to level up your coaching, check out our website where we have over 20 practical, relevant, and engaging online courses designed by coaches for coaches. Our most in-depth program, the Coach Microcredential Mentorship Program, is exactly what you need to level up your coaching. You'll get 26 weeks of curated coaching content in our private online course forums, a private cohort of coaches to learn, share, and reflect with, and you'll even have your own private mentor for an entire academic year. Become a certified Eduro Learning Instructional Coach today. Go to edurolearning.com/coach to find out more. To get a sneak peek at what we offer, download our free 5 strategies for your coaching toolkit in the description box below.